Hi guys, forgive me for my super casual clothes today. Sometimes when it's hot outside, I cannot bring myself to dress nicely. Are you like that too? Today I wanted to talk to you about a story from the Bible from Mark chapter 2. It's a story of the paralyzed man with the really good friends. Do you know which one I'm talking about? It's Mark 2 verse 1. Let me read the story to you. It says, a few days later, when Jesus again entered Capernaum, the people heard that he had come home. So many gathered that there was no room left, not even outside the door, and he preached the word to them. Some men came, bringing to him a paralytic carried by 4 of them. Since they could not get him to Jesus because of the crowd, they made an opening in the roof above Jesus, and after digging through it, lowered the mat the paralyzed man was lying on. When Jesus saw their faith, he said to the paralytic, "Son, your sins are forgiven." Now some of the teachers of the law were sitting there, thinking to themselves, "Why does this fellow talk like that? He's blaspheming. Who can forgive sins but God alone?" Immediately Jesus knew in his spirit that this was what they were thinking in their hearts, and he said to them, "Why are you thinking these things? Which is easier, to say to the paralytic, 'Your sins are forgiven,' or to say, 'Get up, take your mat, and walk'? But that you may know that the Son of Man has authority on earth to forgive sins," he said to the paralytic, "I tell you, get up, take your mat, and go home." He got up, took his mat, and walked out in full view of them all. This amazed everyone, and they praised God, saying, "We have never seen anything like this." I've always thought this story was a little interesting, and I've kind of had a funny view of it, and I know it's because of my own misunderstandings based on my own sin. Because to me, when this man comes paralyzed and lying on a mat, desperately, clearly needing of some healing, and Jesus says to him, "Son, your sins are forgiven," well, to me that kind of feels like when you tell your grandma you want a laptop for Christmas. And then she comes to you on Christmas morning and she says, "I got you your gift. I donated money to this charity in your name." And you're like, "Oh, thank you." And you don't know what to say because that isn't what you asked for. It's not really what you wanted. It's a good thing though. And that's how I always saw this story. But I think that that shows my own misunderstanding and my own brokenness to see it this way. You see, Jesus knew the deeper, desperate, spiritual needs of this man. He knew his worldly needs, his need for healing, but he also knew his desperate spiritual need for healing too. And I think sometimes I get caught up in my worldly needs and the things that I think are the most important things right now, and I don't realize that God is up there taking care every minute, yes, of those worldly things, but also taking care every minute of my spiritual needs. He's taking care of my eternity. And if I could only grasp how large that is, what a bigger picture that is, I would be so much less caught up in my worldly needs. So that's my prayer that I'm learning about myself. And is that something that maybe God has been working on in your heart? I'll be praying that for you too. Because that's what this story shows me. Is that I put a greater emphasis on my worldly needs than on my spiritual needs. I am so thankful that I have a God who knows which one is the most important and is taking care of that for me. Thanks, guys. This has been your Tuesday Talk. I hope you have a great day.